Good morning. I hope you're all well and not too much of a hangover from the fights last night if you was watching. Yeah, it was a bit of a late one, to be honest. Latest night I've had in a while. I didn't have any beers, so yeah, we're just enjoying the Misfits boxing, which, to be honest, apologies for me swearing, but what an absolute shit show that was, guys. What a terrible night of boxing, if you can call it that. Let's start with the tag teams. I felt like I was watching wrestling back in the day when I was a child with Jeff and Matt Hardy, tag team champions. They're the only tag team champions that are valid, and yeah, it should not be crossing over into the boxing industry. I think that is just absolutely terrible. I was so shocked to see it. Yeah, obviously I didn't look too far into the card to even know that was going to happen. So yeah, it's what an absolute night of carnage that was. Yeah, it just got worse. So you had the tag team matches, which was terrible. And I don't mean from an actual physical fighting aspect, but just the whole structure of that. You can kind of see Logan Paul's involvement in this card and organisation. Yeah, I'd say that is definitely all his work, but yeah, terrible. I wouldn't like to see that again. And then we move on. Dillon Danis, Logan Paul. I was very happy 30 minutes before the fight to see an interview, Logan Paul showing off his little cut. Quite a hefty bruise, to be honest. It covered more than half of his face. Very purple, yellow, bit of a laceration. So yeah, not good. I'm not sure if they had to push to keep the fight going with that, because obviously the medics would have liked to look over that, and sometimes they can just pull you from the fight from things like that. So yeah, it's lucky that the fight went ahead. I think Logan looked okay. I think he did very, very well to keep his emotions away from it, which I think is why he was telling him he forgives him at the beginning of the fight. A hell of a lot of talking. That's the most talking I've ever seen in a boxing match or any kind of fight. It's almost like they had unfinished business speaking, and they should have had a sit down and talked things over beforehand. Yeah, very weird and very disrespectful what Dillon Danis did. I think that is absolutely disgusting, and think he should not fight anywhere ever again, to be honest, and make an example out of him. Because yeah, when Nate Diaz did it to Jake Paul, I feel like he would have squeezed just to let him know, but he certainly let go, and it's kind of just, yeah, I could have you. Which I think is just on the boundary line. It was kind of pretty funny and comical, and then Jake Paul actually said, yeah, he did have a real good tight squeeze. So yeah, that's kind of, I'd say that's kind of like the boundary line to where you're at. And Dillon Danis is just, he attempted to take him down at first, which got fumbled, so it made him look silly, because that is what he specialises in, 4-time world champion in jiu-jitsu. So yeah, it's very embarrassing for Dillon and very good for Logan. It really is good for Logan. So yeah, it's very sad to see what Dillon did. And then after that, he tried to get him in a choke, in a guillotine, and dropped to his back. To me, that is a rookie error. I made them mistakes at my first interclubs 10 years ago. It's very unprofessional, and yeah, he just looked very stupid. So one thing I did see is a friend I have on Facebook this morning put a video on, and I didn't clock at the time, but when in round 6 there was 10 seconds to go, the clock appeared in the bottom left hand corner as you're looking at the screen. It said 10 seconds left. If you count down from that 10 seconds, there's at least another 15 seconds that go by before that bell rings. Now, to me, it kind of looks like they manipulated the situation to create that disturbance. Will it bring more eyes to the sport or steer them away? I feel it's going to steer everyone away. It's really not good, and I've always said from the start, I believe that this YouTube stuff is good for boxing, because boxing is kind of dead. It's not he's not really excelled and just leveled up and took the sport to the next level throughout the years. It's kind of just stable or declining, which I think a lot of people can agree on. So when the YouTubers started coming over, I thought it was going to be fantastic for it. And yeah, completely disagree with that now. I think it's terrible for the sport. I think it's destroying it completely. Not good, not good, not a good night of boxing. There's not many... I'm surprised at the amount of praise I'm seeing for Dillon Danis, to be honest. One good thing I would say is, yeah, he was there, he was in his face constantly, which is all good, and that's some real good pressure. But yeah, it was defense with no offense, and I don't think he threw 10 punches throughout the full fight. It was terrible, absolutely terrible. I did expect a little bit more from Dillon with what punches he'd return, but then I was also surprised at how much he was in his face and just constantly there with the pressure. I turned around to my friend at the time while watching it and saying he could just be really, really hiding it well, and he doesn't want to throw any punches till round 3 or 4, and he's just going to walk him down. To which then tire Logan out being the bigger guy, which would have been not the worst game plan. But yeah, then punches didn't come when they should have done. So massive fail. I think it's done huge damage to Dillon's career. I don't think he'll fight again. I don't think he should be allowed to. I think he should be fined heavily if he even does get a purse. So yeah, the overall outcome for Dillon Danis taking this fight, even though it's been built up so well for so long, he's kind of just ruined everything for himself, because he's going to get sued. He's probably going to get fined, I'm presuming. Logan Paul's missus, fiance, is suing him, so no doubt there's going to be a lot of expenses there and fees and fines and stuff like that. He's going to end up massively out of pocket, probably bankrupt, and yeah, I don't think we'll see him fight again. I definitely don't want to see him in a boxing ring again, that's for sure. That should be stripped of him completely. Completely unprofessional, uncalled for, but there is a small chance that that could have been staged. So you never know with these events. They're literally just so unprofessional, so unorganised. There was something going on in the ring. Afterwards, the confrontation was more between Logan Paul's security and the event security, I feel. Whereas Dillon was in his corner and his team didn't really get involved, which I don't think they have that kind of personal connection with him anyway. But yeah, a terrible day for Dillon Danis and a fantastic day for Logan Paul. Massive congratulations to Logan Paul for professionalism, and yeah, just the way he's dealt with this full situation. Fantastic, well done. Then we move on to the main event, which, to be honest, the show could have finished at Dillon and Logan, and I wouldn't say it took any limelight off the final main event. It was still very hyped in there. The crowds were screaming for both KSI and Tommy multiple times throughout the fight. Yeah, it kind of, KSI, I feel like he needs to get out of that Taekwondo stance. It's not the same. I mean, of course, it's all point scoring and stuff, but the reason Tommy got the win is because he was the more dominant fighter. He was pushing and pressing constantly, which is what the boxing industry and the judges want to see. Whereas your Taekwondo, it's more bouncing in and out, get your point, get out, get your point, in, out, point. Which, to be honest, you could clearly see KSI was imitating MVP before you seen MVP in the corner. I've not watched him train with him, but I've not really looked for that kind of content building and leading up to this fight. So, but yeah, it's literally the exact same style as Taekwondo MVP, and we all seen how that ended. Against the right opponents, you can look really, really good, but at some point, look at MVP when he fought Douglas Lima in Bellator. Douglas Lima took advantage of that, bouncing in and out, and he put him to sleep for it. It was a well-timed uppercut, I think. I can't remember, it was a long time ago, a couple of years ago now. But yeah, he did. He literally put him to sleep for making them silly decisions. One thing I seen constantly, all night, the perfect shot to finish KSI last night was the uppercut, especially the right hand. Literally, that uppercut was there all night. He could have popped it and slept him multiple times. Tommy's got that power. He's got a really good uppercut, and I didn't see him throw one throughout the entire fight. But yeah, KSI, he was so readable. He was bopping, in and out. He'd come in with that big jab and then come across with that big right hand and then straight into clinch. And there's a time on his way in just before he got to the clinch. You can see it if you watch it back. There's so many times KSI's face is just right here. He's looking down and he's got an open guard. It just screams all day. Tommy could have just stepped on that back foot, all his weight on his back foot, and bang, up. It was there all night. I'm no professional boxer, but that was there all night, guarantee. Anybody who looks over and analyses that will say that. It's such a shame Tommy come out the way he did, and I think he was very lucky to get away with the win. I was literally begging for him to get the draw because I just didn't want to see him take a loss. At that point when somebody's always got to go, I believe that'd have been better as a draw and a rematch. But yeah, obviously the Taekwondo style, very awkward to deal with that jab, because half of the time they're just not there, and when they are there, it's just so fast and explosive. It just turns straight into, it's parried, it's brushed off, there's no clean shots, so to speak. There was one early on from KSI with a overhand right, just hit him in the neck. KSI did very well on the inside. He did a lot better. So if you look at KSI, Jake Paul, they're constantly going back and forth. Who's the better boxer? I believe Jake Paul's the better boxer on the outside by far. He's so much better. I believe Jake Paul would beat KSI. The thing is, Jake Paul's not so good on the inside, and that's where Tommy really took over the fight as well. Obviously, he was fantastic with his jab. But yeah, that inside work was fantastic from Tommy last time, and Jake didn't really have much to come back with. Whereas KSI, he had quite a lot to come back with, and I think he won them close battles. He really did. He landed quite a lot of shots, clean. Obviously, they're so restricted, but yeah, he had some pop to him, and he caught him clean a good few times. That worked better for him than the bopping in and out with the big overhand and the big jab. Landed some decent body shots. Weren't much in it, to be honest. They weren't much in it. The reason why I really expected Tommy to just hold on to that draw was for the loss of points for the punching in the back of the head. Now, that was very wrong, and I don't know if you've seen the video. There was a fantastic young boxer a couple of years ago. You can see the video online. And basically, he's a good-looking, really good prospect in boxing. He'd been hit on the back of the head a couple of times within a fight, and it completely disabled him for the rest of his life. So unfair. It should be punishable. It happened a little too many times last night, and I think I clocked it at least 3 or 4 times, which is not good. As a fighter, you don't want to be hitting someone there and have that kind of conscience for the rest of your life. And also, as a fighter, you do not want to be hit there. You don't want to be receiving shots like that. It's a very dangerous game, and it needs to be respected. I don't think Tommy did it on purpose. KSI would probably say he did. I think he said he did. He was trying to mess up his equilibrium. But yeah, I don't think he's done that on purpose. I think that's more of a case of just how scrappy it was and how he come in constantly. It just kind of, Tommy's long, he's got very long arms. He's trying to get in like this because At the end of the day, KSI was getting the better of him, so he's got to do something. In the end, he kind of just stopped and he was putting his arms out and saying, look, he's holding me, trying to prevent KSI from getting that much needed break. Although his cardio was very good, I think both of them lasted. Yeah, it's one of them. It was quite a disappointing card, to be honest. Very disappointing. I expected more from Tommy. I expected him to be on that jab, but obviously the Taekwondo stance has thrown him completely. One other thing about Tommy is I feel like he was so readable, and he needs to switch his approach up because his attack always starts the same. It's that double jab. It's almost like a paw jab, boom, setting that big right straight up. It's so predictable though, you know, and it's nice to throw that out, but sometimes, you know, just half throwing that one just to make them flinch and then banging that right one in immediately, or doing the paw and just touching them and keep your range and then bang, line them up. And two of them can go at the same time as long as you're keeping yourself protected and you know what's coming back to the best of your knowledge. And yeah, you using your defense to aid that. It was just so predictable. It was literally so predictable. Even if he just pawed uppercut and just put something else in there, it had certainly mixed it up and left KSI confused and moving at different angles, which had put him in different positions at the end of them shots, to which opens up more doors. I'm no professional boxer, and Tommy Fury would punch my head off in the ring. I'm not saying that, but with the small amount of experience that I've got, I'm able to analyse and look and see these openings, and obviously it's very easier for the spectator to see. It's very different when you're in there. It's hard to listen, it's hard to see these shots sometimes. That changes depending on how much pressure you're getting put on by your opponent. So yeah, very disappointing night of boxing. I don't think I'd watch another one of them at all. I certainly won't pay for it. Yeah, and it's literally cost me 120 quid to get that fight, because DAZN have made me sign up for $19.99 plus £1 for the first month, but I'm tied into a 12-month contract now, and it's a tenner a month for a minimum term of 12 months. I think that's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Now, you might comment and tell me there was another way that I could have bought it and purchased it for the $19.99 without signing up to anything through another streaming platform or even through DAZN. Please let me know. But yeah, I will be emailing them or ringing them and trying to sort that out to cancel it, because I think that's very unfair to pay that amount, especially for what we got. It was by no means a night of boxing, was it? It's very terrible. I mean, there is a couple of fights coming up. Devin Haney, Garcia, not fighting each other, two separate fights, I'm sorry. But yeah, I'd like to watch both of them, so maybe I'll keep it, who knows. But what do you guys think? Do you think anything should have gone the other way? And if so, what way? Are you happy with the way the fighters acted and fought? Did they give it their all? Did they leave certain things unturned? Should they have? To be honest, Logan Paul's fight, Logan Paul, Dillon Danis, that ended pretty bad. Then KSI Fury ended pretty bad as well, to be honest, because, I mean, if you watch the majority of fights, the bigger boxing, the actual official professional boxing cards and matchups that we see on a weekly, monthly basis, and the same with the UFC, the MMA fights that we see across the world, the majority of the time when the fight ends and that bell goes, they've got nothing but love for each other. And we've seen this with so much hostility, and yeah, it's one of them. Is it boxing if you're not gonna be amicable afterwards and shake hands and, you know, show the love for your opponent and the respect that they deserve for what they've just gone through within the ring? It's it certainly shows professionalism, respect, and not only to yourselves, but the sport and everything that everyone's done for it for hundreds of years. It's, you know, it's got to be respected. You've got to, no matter what the build-up is, and obviously it gets a lot worse with these misfit boxing cards, and Dillon Danis throwing the mic, it's one of them. It's very dangerous. It can manipulate the fight. It's all good going to a certain level of drama to build the fight and get the audience really intrigued and yeah, we want to see this, and that's all good stuff because that's just promoting it. But you've got to do it in a safe, healthy way. This is just getting a bit too much now. We have seen it a few times in the UFC, mainly with Conor McGregor. He didn't start the bottle throwing. That was the Diaz team, and obviously he's going to defend himself. But that's exactly what Dillon Danis did this weekend with a microphone. And yeah, so Logan threw something at him, he threw something back. It's just tit for tat and somebody's got hurt. Could be a lot worse. That to me, you know, maybe in a different sport, on a different day, that fight had got cancelled due to that cut. I mean, that's the worst damage he took throughout the fight, and Dillon offered more outside of the ring than what he did inside the ring. He really did. His fight was... The biggest fight was leading up to the fight, and the biggest blow was the microphone. And by the time Logan got in there, he dealt with the worst. He had nothing more. Dillon Danis had nothing more to throw at him, literally. So, yeah, sad times, very sad times, and things need to change. I don't want to see another one of these boxing misfits. I don't want to see another tag team match. And yeah, I was kind of... It'd have been nice for better endings, let's put it that way. But is what it is. I think Dillon Danis should have been escorted directly out the building with no paycheck, no nothing, and heavy fines and lawsuits, court cases coming his way. That's just for his behaviour in there. But it could have been staged. Who knows? We need to find out about that. Will we find out? Let us know if you do. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. Just thought I'd just do my reaction and give my thoughts on that shit show of a boxing night. Yeah, waste of money. But we go again. We've got Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou, which I guarantee you Francis and Tyson will put on a hell of a show. And just look back at his press conference last week, just showing so much respect for Ngannou, saying he loves his story of where he's come from. He's come from nothing in Africa, and he's come over and he's had a couple of fights in the UFC. He's made a big name for himself. He's wiped some of the best in the sport out of the game. And yeah, he's got the power. He's got the power. And I fall into the category of being one of them stupid people that turned around and said Francis Ngannou was making the wrong decision. I thought he was following the money and being a bit greedy. And, you know, I kind of learned quite a bit from when he went on Joe Rogan Experience a couple of weeks ago. You know, that opens a new light, That opens up a new light to the situation and how somebody's feeling and dealing with certain situations. And yeah, I feel like he was slightly mistreated now that you're here. And it's just a famous saying, don't judge a book by its cover. And it's so easy to judge people by the information we know when we need to understand that that information might not be true. And it's so easy to just judge people off what you hear and see on the media. And yeah, it's just a stupid way of thinking about it, really, to be honest, because you need to understand somebody inside and out as much as you possibly can, gather all the information you can, what's out there, and make your own mind up rather than these news outlets and just taking their headlines at face value. And oh yeah, he's made a stupid mistake, he's refusing to negotiate with the UFC, At the end of the day, the guy's moved away from there getting a couple of £100,000, which is good money, but not compared to what some of the other guys are getting. And it's got to be that equality and fairness for all. And I believe they should all get the same percentage. And if they all got the same standard percentage, then it's up to them to promote that fight further, because the more people that buy, the more money they get. because everyone's percentage is the same. So if he sells 10,000 tickets, he sells 100,000 tickets. They're all on the same percentage. So it encourages them to become these characters. Like we see Colby Covington, he was just about to get cut, and then he turned his character into something a bit more malicious, and he gets the numbers and he gets more wages. But so it can be done, it can be changed around with encouragement, and I think that's good and important. But if everyone's percentage were the same, we're all on a level playing field, and yeah, it's things might have worked out better for Francis. But he's not going to be shy of opportunities in the boxing world. He certainly won't, just because he's so big and heavy and powerful. I believe he's got a punch as powerful and as fast as a Ford Escort, hitting you at 90 miles per hour, I think it is. So yeah, the guy's got some force. How more powerful is he to Deontay Wilder? We'll find out. We will find out. But yeah, Tyson Fury will certainly put on a hell of a show and restore the family name. Not like Tommy's tarnished it, he's just put up a poor performance. But you can't always shine. You can't shine against everyone. Certain people fight in certain ways, and yeah, it's difficult. It's very difficult to adapt to different fighters. That was more of an MMA fight for KSI. The amount of clinch work, the amount of just bouncing in and out, and he's on his toes constantly. Lost his balance a couple of times, but he'll probably blame that on the punches to the back of his head. Is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again soon for another video.